Good evening, folks. So, I recognize that it's been quite a long time since my last upload in the root beer series. And, I kind of want to get into the story of that. Why it took so long for me to turn this camera on again and continue the journey I started a month ago, I think. Well, if you remember my last upload, I uncovered the insidious conspiracy that I think is underlying the entire root beer industry and might be cause quite a bit of an issue. I found that all these root beers that you see here and more are actually all produced in the same factory at Orca Beverage Incorporated in Mukilteo, Washington. I think that's the appropriate pronunciation of that. Just to see, it's all about the same. Anyway, after my last upload, I was struck. Right, life kind of started spinning for me. I didn't really know what was going on anymore. I had some fear just about the whole thing and uncovering something so large, but yeah, it was eating at me. I couldn't. I wanted to get to the bottom of this. I wanted to figure out what was happening here in the root beer industry that these large conglomerate companies had to hide themselves and pretend to be something that they're not. I couldn't sleep. It's what I thought about often. If I was at work, it was interrupting my work performance and time with my kids. And it was driving me crazy. So I decided to book an impromptu vacation for myself. And I went to visit my mother and father in another state just to clear my head. It was just too much for me. It was too much for me to handle. I think that it is something that needs to be looked into, but I'm not sure I'm the right guy for it. I think it's too big for me, and I think I'm too weak, and it would crush me. But funnily enough, while I was on my vacation and I was de-stressing, at the grocery store, I happened to run into a Sioux City Rootbeer. This is the same, at least in name, as the root beer I tried last time. And I thought that it was a little too serendipitous. The message that I kind of got from that was, Noctis, it's not time to give up. Maybe I don't need to uncover the entirety of the conspiracy right now. Maybe it's something that gradually, as I'm able to withstand some of the things that come with that, with uncovering such a conspiracy, maybe once I gain the strength, we'll slowly uncover it together, but I'm uncertain of how that is going to unfold. But all that I do know is that I'm going to do what I sought to do in the first place, which was to just drink some root beer and give you a good review of it. So, lo and behold, as many of you have been asking, let's try the Sioux City. And just to clear things up, this was a Mukilteo, Washington, Orca Beverage Incorporated. This one, we are looking at a nice White Rock Products Corporation in Whitestone, New York. I don't, the crazy thing is I don't even know if that is the authentic creator of Sioux City Root Beer. I think Sioux City Root Beer is like this shell name. I mean, it has the restricted logo symbol right there for the name logo. But clearly it's not that restricted. I digress. I'm getting a little too verklempt myself. So you know what? Let's chill out. Let's have a nice root beer. Oh, now that is a Sioux City root beer. There's definitely, I know it's been weeks since I had this one opened. Oh, excuse me. I'm getting hit with a lot of flavor here. In my sinuses especially, there's a lot of like vanilla. I think that's what that is. Anyway, since my endeavor into this one, I can definitely tell the difference between these two root beers, which is, how can you sell it under the same name if there's an entirely different flavor profile? That just doesn't make sense to me. I never forget a root beer. Right? I never forget the flavor of root beer. I know the first video I said, maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe I'm not able to, discern all these flavors. Wrong. So anyway, that one it didn't have the same flavor and the same punch that this one does. This one advertises specifically, they both say made with cane sugar, so that's ruling out the high fructose corn syrup theory on that one for the flavor change. So if it's not the high fructose corn syrup, what is the difference between these two? That's good. That's a good root beer. And, well, fellas, with that, I leave you. Sioux City, specifically White Rock Products, Sioux City Root Beer, from Whitestone, New York. There's like a sweetness to it. It's really nice. My wife and I actually made root beer for a while, but we tried to make a more traditional, authentic root beer, and that's got a good flavor profile, but it is a little earthy. It's not quite as sweet as these store-bought soda products. Yeah, this one definitely hits the back of your tongue. I really like it. And another thing you'll notice about different sodas is the fizziness, right? The amount of fizz that really hits you full force when you take a sip. This one's nice and mellow. I could chug this thing, no problem. Might be burping a little, excuse me, but I'm not gonna have some sort of like throat reaction to the fizz that comes from such a root beer. Yeah, that's nice. Almost a little sour. I didn't know that was a flavor profile that root beer often hit, and maybe that's what stands Sioux City Root Beer above the rest, or apart from the rest. I don't necessarily want to say above, because, well, I mean, if you know anything about root beer, you know that Barks root beer, it stood the test of time. It's the root beer that is probably going to transcend them all. There's a few other root beer brands, but you know what? We're gonna get to that. Maybe not in this video. Definitely not in this video. But we are definitely gonna get That's a good root beer. This one's making me a little silly. I think I think this one might be a little fermented. You know, it has been sitting in my fridge for quite a while. I went to on vacation when I picked this up at the grocery store, and I've been sitting on it since. You know, I've been trying to find the right time to sit down and make this video and really give all of my, you know, self to the root beer. Because I don't want a distracted mind, right? If I'm trying to review something, if I'm trying to really soak in all that it has, and my mind's somewhere else, just basically drinking sugar water at that point, you know, there's no point of cracking open a soda when your mind's elsewhere. You know, if you're gonna drink a pop, you gotta be invested in it. Otherwise, you're just drinking sugar water. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your time. You know. So, you know, I that's why I've been prolonging this video for a while. I've had a lot of things going on, and just trying to overcome my crippling fear of really stumbling upon something dark and horrid. But yeah, Sioux City Rootbeer, possibly authentic. Well, until next time, folks, I give that one a 7. 6.5, 7. Somewhere in there. It's a fine root beer. 5 is pretty good, you know? A lot of people do their 1 to 10s where 5 is basically like untouchable. So you're really only doing 5 to 10. And so like 5 is untouchable, 6 is, you know, maybe a teensy bit good, and 7's like your average, and then 8 and 9 are, you know, like above average, and then 10 is like good. It's like, okay, why are you doing a 1 to 10? You're doing 5 to 10, so just do 1 to 5. You know, I think for these people, you know, 1 to 10 might be too big of a range for them. I don't think they can, you know, mentally comprehend the 10-tiered system. 5's pretty good. 5's not a bad. So 7, 6.5, 7. You know, it's worth buying. It's worth trying. But I mean, obviously, compared to a 9 or 10, it's not really any point if you have the option. But if you're at a gathering, an event, you know, family reunion, and they got some Sioux City root beer in the cooler, all right, cool. I'm not gonna avoid it. I'm not gonna choose the ginger ale or the cherry soda, maybe the orange cream soda, maybe the Jones blue looking son of a gun, but I'll have the Sioux City. All right, folks, that's it from me. Until next time. Take it easy.